So we have Eco Hero Awards. I just want to acknowledge we have a Canadian Eco Hero Award that we gave to Jennifer Bechwal this year. We gave it to her on Friday night where she did a talk called An Evening with Jennifer Bechwal. And tonight we're going to give the International Eco Hero Award. So I'd like to invite the sponsor up of the Eco Hero Awards, Alex Miller from Esri Canada. He is both the chair of the board of the Planet in Focus Foundation, and he has generously sponsored these Eco Hero Awards, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Well, each year Planet in Focus recognizes exceptional individuals who've made a difference in raising awareness of our environment through their actions and their body of work, particularly in the area of visual arts and film. Past Planet in Focus Eco Heroes have included Margaret Atwood, Robert Redford, Maud Barlow, and Robert Bateman, just to name a few. Tonight we're going to honor this year's International Eco Hero, James Balog. He's an award-winning photographer, and for the last 3 decades he's been a leader in documenting and understanding and interpreting our natural environment. In 2007 he founded the Extreme Ice Survey. This is just an absolutely incredible project. He embodies the values of an eco-hero both as a filmmaker and an environmental advocate. So please join me in welcoming James Balog to the stage to receive the Planet in Focus 2012 International Eco-Hero Award.
Thank you, everybody. I love Canada. This is great. You know what? I love Canada so much I married a Canadian, and you're going to see her in the film, actually. But no, this is wonderful. You know, look, I'm the point person on this project. You'll see me a lot on the screen, but there's an awful lot of blood, sweat, and tears by a lot of other people on this effort, including my family. But also, obviously, the director, Jeff Orlowski, the producers, Paula Pessman and Jerry Aronson, some of my core science collaborators, Tad Pfeffer, Jason Box. Tad is from the University of Colorado, Jason's from Ohio State, and dozens of other people. So we're all in this together. And in a sense, we're all in this together. Everybody in this room is manifested in this film. Everybody in this country, everybody on this continent is in the film. And I really appreciate the honor that you've bestowed on the film here tonight. Thanks so much.
So we're going to start the film. Chasing Ice is directed by Jeff Orlowski. It's an incredible, incredible film. I hope that you enjoy it. And then I know that you'll enjoy it and you'll find it fascinating. And James Balog will be here afterwards for a question and answer period. And then after that, he will be signing his book in the lobby. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That's very kind. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'll put a couple of quick questions to rest. They always come up. My knees are not the way they were when I was 30 years old, but I'm still functioning. I can rock climb, I can ski. Not doing much with crampons right at the moment for recreation, but I can get out and do my field work. So I'm happy about that. The cameras are still out there. We have 31 or 32 cameras out in the field right now. We probably will put out some more in the Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard next year. And if my friends in the Bertinsky clan have their way, we might put some cameras out at some dams in China with them, which I think would be a wonderful idea. We obviously had the choice of putting all these what you can do solution type things at the end of the film. And we discovered after many attempts that there was no better way to kill the aesthetic, creative buzz of the film than talking about changing light bulbs. So it's not in the film, but it's out there on the website, and it's on these sheets, and it's also all over the internet from other people. So, without further ado, questions?
I have a question. So how did the actual film get started? How did Chasing Ice sort of begin, and how did you meet Jeff Orlowski? And he's in the film
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah, I've been a mountaineer for 40 years and traveled a lot of the world climbing for recreation, and I studied this stuff in graduate school. And so the growth of this project was a natural, development in my life, and I think we traced that fairly well in the film. When I got the idea that we should do time-lapse pictures, I thought, somewhere out there in the future, there's a film that will talk about what we're doing. I don't know what the story arc will be. I don't know what the end point of this will be. I mean, literally 5.5 years ago, we had no idea what these cameras would see. It all seems so obvious now, right? But 5.5 years ago, nothing was obvious. So I thought, okay, we better shoot something. And we had no money in the budget for any kind of video production. We didn't have enough money in the budget to do what we had to do with the still photography. But so I had to kind of call in favors and talk to friends and try and get people to work on the cheap. Jeff was finishing his senior year at Stanford, and he actually skipped graduation to go on one of these field trips with us. He was so excited about the possibility of filming. He had these great ambitions of being a videographer, and he had done some very modest student filming. But he was a very, very bright guy, and I saw his still photography, and it was pretty good for somebody of his age, and a mutual friend recommended him highly. So I thought, I have no budget. He's willing to work for free. I'll pay his expenses, and he can come. Everybody gets something out of that. And so he came, and he became a part of the EIS field team, more or less as a videographer for a couple of years. And I kept spending money out of our operational budget to try and keep covering the project. And after about 2 years, I couldn't stand the pain of that anymore. It got really expensive to fly guys all around the world to cover these things. And I said, okay, I don't want anything more to do with film production. Tired of spending that money, done. And Jeff pleaded with me for the chance to use the footage and turn it into a feature film. And I said, dude, you have no idea how far over your head you are. And he made a beautiful trailer, like a 4-minute trailer, and it was gorgeous. I mean, literally brought me to tears when I saw it the first time in our office. But Jeff has tremendous self-confidence, just amazing self-confidence. And he said, I'll do it. I promise you, I'll do it. I'll make it work. And the film zigged and zagged for a few years. He had a hard time with it, and he brought some really talented people in on the team, the producer Paula, Davis, the editor, Davis Cohn from Denver, and eventually the film came together. A year ago, almost, a year ago from this time, Sundance accepted the film. It got into the Sundance Festival in January, and the rest is history. It goes into theatrical release in Canada and the United States next month. It'll go into global TV distribution in April on the National Geographic Channel, and by next summer, I think it'll be in both Netflix and DVD circulation.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's really wildly, stupidly, crazily improbable. I mean, you don't have any idea how many times I've seen this film in an auditorium, and still, just sitting here tonight, I look up at that and I go, how could all of this actually have turned into that? It just seems completely surreal that it all worked, it all happened, and this film is a byproduct of all that work.
Is there something that an instinct that you followed, and what might that have been?
But on the instinct side, you're in a way, you're asking a deeper question here, and that is, why does one do this stuff? And my work on people and technology, and on America's Largest Trees, and on the Hunting Project, and the endangered species stuff, all these things come with a tremendous inner and outer cost. There's a lot of strain inside, there's a lot of financial risk. It's not easy to get anything funded. Most of the previous projects I funded on credit cards, you know. The magazine industry is the world that I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and the economics of that industry have completely collapsed the past 10 years. There's almost no money left to do anything. So, yeah, but still, I just felt like when I get these ideas in my head and I get really engaged with the subject, I just get in this sort of damn the torpedoes mode. I don't care. I just have to go and shoot it. There's nothing else I feel like I can be doing with my creative life other than doing these projects. And so for me, this is a question of, this is why my life was made. You know, this is why I'm here. This is why all these skills came together in this one project. It's what I'm supposed to do. And it's difficult, and it hurts my knees, it hurts my back, and all kinds of other things, but it's what I'm supposed to do. So that's the deep instinct part of it.
Next question.
Yeah, the question is, what will these scenes look like 100 years from now? In fact, many of the frames that we're showing you, like Mendenhall Glacier, Columbia Glacier, there won't be any ice in it. I mean, that's a demonstrable fact. I was just at Mendenhall on, like, I think it was September 22nd or something. Basically, what that camera is looking at from the right side, where you see that big mass of ice going back up the valley, there's almost no ice left in that picture. So 2-3 years, it'll be gone completely. And we have thought about doing those sorts of illustrations, but I think it's more effective to just show the clinical facts of the cases, the camera's recording it, and not try and project into some other imaginary landscape, because as soon as you do that, the critics can always say, how do you know? So we'll just show them what we do know.
As you said, there's obviously going to still be some climate change deniers out there, even with this evidence. But on the other hand, we saw the employee who was formerly with Shell who changed his lifestyle. And I'm wondering if you've heard, or what has been some of the really positive impact that has made you feel like this monumental task has been actually impactful and is making change.
I can't count people driving different cars, having different light bulbs, you know, changing their food consumption habits, travel habits, whatever. All I can refer to is anecdotal evidence, where in rooms like this, I've had many people come up to me from really conservative backgrounds, including other people who had worked for oil companies. One man, he was this tall, rangy rancher kind of a guy with a cowboy hat and a denim jacket on, and about 72 years old, white-haired Marlboro man kind of a guy. His daughter later told me that guy had laid more miles of oil and gas pipeline in the West than almost any other person alive today. And that guy came up to me and he said, Mr. Balog, I want to shake your hand. I thought this was a lot of baloney. But I believe the story when you tell it to me. I don't believe the academics. I don't believe the eco, what did he call it? I don't know. Maybe I better not repeat it. He had a word for environmentalists that wasn't very flattering. But he said, when I see you up there on the screen doing what you're doing, you seem like a really reasonable, sensible guy. So I accept this story coming from you.
Well, thank you very, very much for being here.
Thank you.